Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of I Think I Hate Movies.
Hello, hello.
Hello, I'm John,
I'm Ray.
and welcome to the podcast again. Or if you're new, welcome for the first time. If you have been listening, though, first of all, I want to address last week. I butchered Marion Cotillard.
You read the pronunciation?
I, yeah,
Oh, okay.
and I'd like to apologize for that. I think I know how to pronounce it now. I think. Also, we were talking about what movie? Oh God.
Sixth Sense?
What were we watching last week?
Unbreakable.
Yeah, I was talking about The Visit,
The Visit.
and that being in comparison to John Romero's Diary of the Dead. I said John Romero. I meant George Romero. John Romero was a video game developer at id Software.
He's back, isn't he?
He's yeah, kinda. He's working at Oculus doing the VR stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, but my brain did a name swap there, so I apologize for that. Yeah, that was George Romero. He's the zombie guy. John Romero's the demon guy.
Okay, totally different things.
Right. John Romero, hell. George Romero, zombies. So, okay. All right. Moving on. We'll do a little bit of news. Not much. I kind of skimmed. We didn't introduce ourselves. I'm John.
We did.
We did?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Moving on.
I didn't know we were allowed to introduce postscripts.
And you're Ray.
Yes.
Jon and Rei. As usual. Anyway. Keep getting sidetracked. The first piece of news. Not big news. But, well, not interesting news either. Just something I saw that we both saw and went, ah. Let's see. Charlize Theron is going to be, our Furiosa is going to be in the next Fast and Furious movie. I believe it's 8. They're in 8 now.
Yes.
As the villain. They tweeted out a photo. Her name is Cypher. She's playing the villain. She's wearing a Metallica shirt. That's all we know.
That's all we need to know, really.
Yeah. Your thoughts?
I don't know. I've never been able to get a good read on Charlize Theron. She's in some real good movies, and then she's in some stuff where I'm just like, okay, I can't tell if this is you or your agent, but all right, whatever you want, have fun.
Yeah. A bit of a downgrade from Furiosa
Yeah.
in Fury Road, but I don't know. I don't know how I feel about. Okay, so I haven't seen a Fast and the Furious movie since Tokyo Drift.
I haven't seen any since the very first one.
So you saw the first one, okay? Like they're fun, or they're purportedly fun movies, I guess.
I guess.
Yeah, I don't. Like for action schlock, I guess you could do worse.
Sure.
There's like a weird. There's one thing. There's a weird like meta to Fast and Furious.
Yeah, because they're aware of how stupid they are, and you can tell.
That, but also the timeline. So I believe since 7 was the last movie they made, it's actually chronologically not the last movie in the series. The last movie in the series is Tokyo Drift in their timeline. So they jump around, and it's really weird. It's really strange. Like I think they did that because the first 2 were so successful and they kept making them, and then they kind of constructed a story and kind of cobbled something together after the fact. Because I don't know if, I don't think they predicted that they would do so well.
Yeah.
And they do well financially. Like, the content of the actual movie is, whatever, and I could care less. But, like, it's just weird that like they're going to those lengths to like try to tie the story together, but also they're very self-aware how like how stupid and over the top they are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't seen any but the first one, so I'm gonna go with
Yeah.
that one.
I know, it's a weird thing. It's like a car. It started as a car racing movie, and now it's like on the level of like Transformers.
Didn't someone get
as far
kidnapped
as-
in the first one or something? So it wasn't car racing.
No, they were
It was like
stealing.
car
they
stealing
were,
and set.
yeah, stealing VCRs.
I don't remember.
Something.
It was a long time ago.
And then Paul Walker was a double agent. He was a cop, but he was posing as a
right,
the
it was a
racing
loyalty
game.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was really stupid. But hey, whatever. Those movies are probably gonna go on forever, as long as people go and see
It's
them.
like the Land Before Time, what with cars.
What?
Nothing.
Did you just compare Fast and the Furious to a children's cartoon about talking dinosaurs?
I think it's about the same.
Okay. All right, let's see. Our next piece of news is nothing big either, but well, actually it is kind of big. Daniel Craig, who has been James Bond for the past 3 or 4 movies, he's done.
With James Bond?
Yeah. He, I think actually MGM released a statement on his behalf.
I was gonna say, wait, did he say this?
No,
Or
he
did
said this.
He
This
said
is
this?
official.
But coming from him or coming from the studio? Like who?
No,
told who
he's
to stop.
No, he's yeah, I get what you're saying. He for a long time he's voiced that he doesn't want to do Bond anymore.
Oh, okay.
So it's official now. He doesn't want to be Bond, and obviously, much like the Fast and the Furious movies, those are going to go on until someone stops seeing them. So the next James Bond, who do you think it should be?
Is there already a contender or? Don't tell
No,
me.
I don't know. I mean, there's speculation, but they haven't officially gone and cast anyone.
To be entirely honest, the first person who jumps to mind is Tom Hardy, which is really weird, but I feel like he's kind of going that route.
What if we go the lady route?
That would be really cool, but it's James Bond, and it's kind of notoriously.
What if it's Jane Bond? So, this leads to this minor thing that Gillian Anderson actually tweeted a photo of her with the 007 logo. And yeah.
That's really interesting.
Yeah. It was kind of in jest, but like, I'm sure if a studio approached her, she would take it. Or if she was cast, I'm sure she would take the role.
Yeah.
I think.
That's one of those things too where it's like interesting where I don't really know what to think about if that would happen, because it's like then you're reviving a series that's known for kind of being the opposite. As you try to fix its problems, you're kind of
like in the sense that James Bond is like a womanizer and or was a womanizer. And like I think they have done a good job with Daniel Craig.
I haven't seen the newer ones too, so that's another thing where I'm kind of like out of the loop on that. They
kind of subdued some of those characteristics.
Okay.
The like Roger Moore's and Sean Connery's exhibited. I mean, he still like there's like the Bond girl usually.
Right.
You know
but
what
is
I
she
mean?
more of a character than
Right. Than
an
just
object.
like an arm or a what am I trying to say?
A dancer?
No. What?
A credit dancer.
Someone to put his arm around.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't. I'd like to see a woman. I'd like to see. I don't know what I'd like to see. Actually, let's see, was it Spectre, the last one? I don't know. I haven't been keeping up with those movies.
Yeah.
But I saw a couple of the Daniel Craig ones, and I think he is, or was, good. So, I don't know, it'll be interesting to see what they do with that series. So let's see, moving on, our next segment is movie trailers I didn't watch. Yeah, we did not watch a movie trailer for a movie called Cell, which is based on a Stephen King novel starring Sam Jackson and John Cusack. This appears to be a movie about cell phones taking over people's minds, and it looks really ridiculous.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. It's one of those Stephen King movies that looks like he didn't really expect that to be a movie, maybe a TV movie. And he was just like, oh, this is just slack to write just so I can finish something and put it out. And like, he knows. And it's like, so why didn't a studio
This is one of his straight to paperback books.
Right in the airport, right when you get on the plane, you're done with it by the time you get off the plane. One of those deals.
Yeah. So at first, like, the trailer opens with people on their cell phones at an airport, and then instantaneously the cell phones take over everyone, and they start exhibiting zombie-like behavior. And John Cusack is miraculously, like, the only one unaffected, and he is our hero character in the movie, from what it seems, and he's trying to find his son. But, like, the rest of the movie, like, looks like a zombie movie, because there are hordes of people, like, mindless people chasing him throughout the movie. So it's going to be one of those.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we can talk about the trailer, because I'm not going to see this movie. So, there are a few things that you can put in your movie that will instantly turn me off. And this is one of them.
Zombies?
Zombies.
Oh,
if you put zombies in your movie, I will instantly not care about your movie.
Me too.
I don't care how good it is. That's like, because it's like a lot of times zombies are used as a plot device, or I don't know. I guess it's like the way that zombies are used in movies is what I don't like. I don't know.
They're like an action sequence with people, but without people.
No, well, that's the thing, is like they like a lot of times are in service of the action, or to have an action scene, but like as a threat, they're usually non-threatening.
Right.
They're usually slow-moving, shambling hunks of meat that want to eat your brains. But, like, I don't know, just, like, conceptually, like, mindless hordes of people. Like, I get the metaphor. Like, it's been done so much at this point that it's, like, I don't know. It just seems tired. And like, this movie looks like it's trying to put a spin on that. But at the same time, it's, like, you made a zombie movie.
There's probably a pithy one-liner that could sum up that whole movie, but I'd have to watch the movie to get to the end.
Yeah.
And see what it is.
Yeah. That's not to say, I was gonna say, that's not to say I don't like any movies with that, but I don't know. There are a few, but that's for another day. Let's talk about Ghostbusters, because we didn't have this segment when the first trailer came out, and they just put another one out. And this is oh shit, I didn't write it down. Fact checking. Oh, okay, so Paul Feig's Ghostbusters just got another trailer. I watched the first one. Or I didn't watch the first one. I didn't watch this one either. I didn't watch the new one. And then this new one, came out a few days ago. Paul Feig is a comedy director. So he's done, like, Bridesmaids. He recently did that movie Spy with Melissa McCarthy. It's kind of like a spy spoof where she's the unlikely undercover agent. Yeah, with Jason Statham, I believe. Oh, and The Heat, where she's the grungy cop, like the good cop, bad cop kind of thing with Sandra Bullock.
Mm-hmm.
So Paul Feig's new Ghostbusters. What do you think about this trailer?
I honestly don't know because I didn't really like the first Ghostbusters.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like the same sort of humor to me.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of feels the same. So it's like on the same par. It's not really an improvement, and it's worse because it's a remake. But at the same time, I don't think it deserves. I don't know.
You don't think it deserves the vitriol and hatred that it's getting?
Yeah, for something that was. It's a remake of something that was already kind of schlocky in its own way.
Yeah. The first Ghostbusters is fine for the time. And in retrospect, it's not as good, but I think the funny bits are still funny. I think the idea of a giant Stay Puft as the last boss, if you want to put it that way, is funny. I think the special effects hold up in the sense that, in the context of that movie, like they're fun and they're goofy, and that's what the movie is tonally. But I think it, especially with Ghostbusters 2, which I think it's all right. The Ghostbusters 2 is fine, but I think that concept and that movie and those characters and like the dynamic that they have, like it's done. They did their thing. Ghostbusters said what it had to say. It was of an era, and we should just leave it at that. Maybe.
Yeah. I feel like if they had just left it at that, it would have been fine, or if they had taken it a completely different direction. And it feels like they are going too similar of a route with the new one.
Yeah. I have no problem whatsoever of a team of women. I think all those actresses are capable and funny.
Mm-hmm.
I think the special effects look like.
I feel like they're kind of the same sort of tone.
Yeah, like tonally they work, but like.
They're like kid friendly.
Well, I wouldn't even say that because there's some. I don't know, maybe. But I'm just like. Maybe throw in some practical effects too. Because it's very like CGI heavy, yeah. I mean, it's not to say that they're not in there though.
Yeah, that's what exactly. That's what I was saying. Like, I don't really know what to say about this movie because I haven't seen the movie. Because it feels like there's probably going to be a bunch of tributes in the movie, and there's also probably going to be a lot of stuff to redeem it. But I don't know if it's going to be as much due to how it's being marketed.
Right, and that's the thing too with remakes is like I hate it when it's kind of just empty nostalgia and there's like references to the old thing and it's like, hey, wink wink, nudge nudge, you remember this? It's like, yeah, I do, but like try to separate yourself from that. Like make your own film, make your own legacy. Don't rely on the old stuff, because there is a time and I think there's a time and a place for nostalgia. But if you're doing things for a new generation, a new audience, then just do your own thing and don't worry about the old stuff. Don't worry about the source material because let your movie stand on its own, right? I think actually the main problem I have, and this is only according to the trailer, but I think that it feels like the dynamic with the Ghostbusters themselves is off, maybe, because like the original Ghostbusters is like, I don't know, Venkman and Ernie and all them, they like all have their own traits and personalities, and from the trailer I'm getting like everybody's a comedian, like everybody's there to like spout a punchline, and I just don't think that works. I mean, if that's what you're going for, where everybody's the funny guy, then fine. But I just liked in the original how, I don't know, Peter was the funny guy, and Egon was like the serious scientist. But who knows? Whatever. It's just a trailer. Okay, and then our next segment. So last week I debuted another segment, Get Off My Lawn, and I didn't explain what it was. I just said get off my lawn. So I will explain this week. Get Off My Lawn is my way of shaking my proverbial fist at movies, whether it be it's just me aging and yelling at movies for being movies.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah. And it could be whatever, it could be like movie trends that I don't particularly like, or an actor or casting or director, like, what are you doing? I don't know. It's like a grievance. It's like a movie grievance. So anyway, this week's Get Off My Lawn segment, I'll just make this brief. Get off my lawn, internet commenters. Get off my lawn this week. I'm going to shake my fist at all the YouTube commenters on the Ghostbusters trailer. And maybe I shouldn't make this my segment. Okay, I'll make it brief. If you're mad that the Ghostbusters are women now, too bad. Get over it. The world is not, it's not the 80s anymore. This isn't your old Ghostbusters. This is a new thing. Women can be in movies. It's allowed. Sorry. Also, it's a movie. Why does everything have to turn into a semantic argument about sexism or power, quote unquote, in Hollywood? That's not what this is about. Paul Feig, guess what? He likes Melissa McCarthy. Guess what? He's making Ghostbusters. Guess what? Melissa McCarthy's in it. Oh my god, deal with it. Alright, I feel better.
Okay.
I think. I don't know. So, we accidentally... Actually, we didn't accidentally. We never posted what we were going to watch this week.
No.
So we apologize to our regular listeners. Which movie do you want to talk about first? The Blair Witch Project? Or The Witch?
I suppose The Witch was the one we watched first. So we should maybe start there.
But the Blair Witch Project came first. Well, let's talk about the Blair Witch Project first, actually, because I've seen it and you haven't.
Okay.
You said that last week.
Did
So I want to get at the end, and I gasped.
Oh. Okay.
This was came out in 1999, directed by two guys, Daniel Merrick and Eduardo Sanchez. And what are your impressions of the Blair Witch Project, having never seen it until now?
It was interesting because to me it was perhaps the most tolerable horror movie in that category genre of teen drama horror.
Yeah.
that I've seen in a very long time.
Yeah. Actually, let's rewind it a little bit. So, horror.
Yes.
How do we feel about horror movies?
I like certain gothic horrors, and I like classical horror, and I like really artsy horror, I guess is what I like. I like stylized horror, like Sweeney Todd, or really old 40s horror. It's like, just like, some of it's B stuff, some of it's not even B. I like that sort of garbage. I really like garbage, not like slasher garbage, like Jeepers Creepers garbage.
That's a slasher.
It is a slasher, but if you haven't seen it, right?
No, I know what it's about.
You haven't seen it, right? Foreshadowing.
Is it bad?
It is horrible in the best way. I love that sort of
Will I hate it?
I don't know.
Oh.
To be honest,
Okay.
I really don't know.
So you like cult horror? You like monster horror?
I don't know if I like cult horror. It's hard to say. Because there's some cult horrors I feel like I really don't like, and stuff that pushes into cult horror modern styles stuff that I don't like. Like Cloverfield, I feel like is pushing on. But like I know Cloverfield's like a really popular one. It's almost cult standard now, I feel like, and I'm not into that at all. And I like monster movies too, but I'm not into Cloverfield at all. So it's weird. I don't like a lot of the Godzilla sequels, but I like the first one. I like a lot of old monster movies, from like dated monster movies. Because that was when it was scary, I guess. I think I like that.
So you like to be frightened or entertained, or kind of both, like one being the consequence of the other?
That's a good point. It's like I like to be scared and entertained. If you take away the entertainment, I hate it so much. so much. Because I'm not a masochist at all, despite what this podcast may imply. I really hate a lot of slasher horror because of that. I just can't see... Because to me, it just comes across as so judgmental.
Right.
To a point where it's like, these people deserve what's happening to them because they're jerks or something stupid and shallow to me, and it just really bugs me and rubs me the wrong way. It's just like, I don't want to watch some douchebag's interpretation of reality.
Right. I'm kind of with you. Well, as far as slasher horror goes, I could care less. I really don't. I don't like Halloween. I don't like Jason series. What is that?
I haven't even really seen
Jason's Halloween, right?
Is he Friday the 13th?
Friday the 13th. Yeah. I don't like any of those movies because, well, for one, Michael Myers is Halloween. What am I talking about?
Yeah. I like the music in Halloween.
Like, conceptually, yeah, the music is good. Conceptually, like, I get it. You know, you have an unrelenting, indestructible villain who is terrorizing people and can't be stopped.
I love The Mummy, all of its incarnations.
That's not horror. That is schlock. But I mean, like, I get that.
But he follows those rules.
It's just like it's, I don't know, it's something about the dull and drab nature of those movies where it is just sometimes it's just ordinary people, or no, it's just the way that John Carpenter in Halloween, like, it's filmed well. That movie looks nice and fine, and I get what he's doing, but I'm with you. You need to entertain, as well as scare.
Not so much that, because Halloween is like higher on my list than most of them.
Okay.
It's okay, because I actually like that. I like that there's real people in there that you kind of feel bad for.
But what have they done? Isn't that the kind of the problem with slasher horror though? Is like in the fact that when it is like an innocent person.
What do you...
Like Jamie Lee Curtis's character is like, what has she done? Like, why is she being terrorized by Michael Myers? You know.
Right.
I'm
okay with that. That makes sense because that's scary, and that's a more real person to me. If that makes sense. I don't like watching people feel like they're justified to die because they did something petty.
They're justified to die?
That's what it feels like when I watch a horror movie that's like a film.
So you're rooting, in that, you're rooting for the killer?
That's what I feel like people who enjoy that sort of movie are doing.
Oh, okay.
So I don't like that.
Right. Yeah, and that's
what I'm saying. Like, the movie is a douchebag's perspective of reality.
Right. And that ties into, like, the misogynistic roots where a lot of that comes from too, and racist roots.
Just judgmental in general. Like, there's just personality traits that you can tell someone clearly doesn't understand and is made into a caricature of a stereotype that they feel justified in killing. It's just stupid to me. So I hate that. I hate movies like that.
Yeah, you do kind of get the feeling that, like, the directors a lot of times are writing, or are...
The writer is.
Or the movie is trying to portray the killer as something that you are supposed to derive some excitement for when he shows up.
Yeah.
And those are the scenes that you kind of live for in horror.
Those are the entertainment in horror, and I don't find them entertaining at all.
Right. Yeah, slasher horror. I like cosmic horror. I like body horror.
I love
like
cosmic horror.
yeah. If if you get weird, I'm there. But horror is such a weird genre with so many subgenres that it's hard to pinpoint.
I think it's also maybe why I like Stephen King.
Yeah.
So Stephen King does that a lot, where he doesn't really. I mean, he has tropey characters. Don't get me wrong there, but he has a lot of like real characters intermingled with them, and the horror happens to all of them. And I kind of like that. And I think even though they're usually really cheap.
Yeah.
Kind of usually, I shouldn't say that because it's totally not his fault. Because you can tell the ones he actually worked on, and you can tell the ones where he just did it to finish. Yeah. And it's like they're all kind of tied in the same way.
Yeah.
I think that's why I like a lot of Stephen King stuff.
Yeah, I like The Shining. The Shining is a
I hate that movie.
flawless movie. Flawless.
I hate it. That would be an example of one I hate.
Okay.
Compared to the book. Yeah.
Oh, you're one of those.
No, it's not that. That movie is so overrated. I'm sorry. Stanley Kubrick is overrated to me.
Alright. We're getting contentious.
Yeah. Sexist bastard. Thank you. Yeah, got that off my chest.
Good.
That would be a horror movie where sexism is a big thing. Where I'm just like, no, I'm off put by the sexism in that movie.
Oh, it's so gorgeous though. Anyway. Horror. So horror is a contentious genre for both of us. And it kind of encompasses a lot of things. Like, I like stuff like The Thing, like weird cosmic horror, stuff like that. But it's not, well, I guess The Thing has parts that are there with the purpose of scaring you, while at the same time building a good narrative around that.
There's real characters.
Pretty.
That actually try to save themselves.
Realistic characters, right? With some good self-preservation
and
skills,
goop.
And there's lots of goop.
Yeah, goop's always.
So you got goop in your movie. You got prosthetics. You got that stuff. I am all on board. So, with that said, Blair Witch. You thought it was all right?
Yeah, Blair Witch has some of that stuff I was kind of implying that I don't like. Like, you see those three people, they're kind of the same personality type almost, and that's kind of what creates the tension between them. Where they're
I wouldn't say that.
They kind of are, because they're just like so. Well, I shouldn't say that. Josh is the only one who's kind of off.
I'd say Josh is very subversive, or very not subversive, very
calm. I don't want to say calm. He's like more.
He's a little more complacent. He's a little more
laid back.
Laid back, yeah.
Nonchalant.
Yeah.
No, okay, sorry.
And then Heather and Mike are very headstrong leaders almost, or they want to be.
They aren't leaders.
Center.
That's the problem with.
Well, they want to be, or they act like they possess those attributes.
They think they possess those qualities.
Right.
And that's what makes them butt heads.
Mm-hmm.
Because none of the people in the group are a leader.
Right. And that's right. And that's where the kind of drama and conflict.
Right. And that's why it kind of gets frustrating. Because it's just like, I almost feel like Josh, if he were a complete individual, would have sort of stepped up more often than he did. Because he would have seen where there's tension and stuff. And
he is the first to go.
Right.
In the movie. So.
But I think it wasn't to the point where it was like so hard to believe them or relate to them in any way that it was like removing me from the movie.
Oh, I thought the characters were great. I think this movie still holds up pretty well. I want to say, yeah, this was probably the first like found footage, big quote unquote found footage success. Especially the way it was like marketed, because it came out in the summer, and it was, I watched a couple trailers before this, but I do remember seeing them as a kid, and it's like the way it was marketed is really cool too, because it was advertised as this real thing. Like it was like the opening title cards, like in 1994, this group of teens went into the woods in Burkittsville, Maryland, and were never seen again. And then there was like these weird like faux interviews with like Heather's dad and stuff.
I remember those.
Yeah, so it was like
made me
cool.
really want to see it, and it was like one of the. I think it's the only horror movie my parents wouldn't let me see for some reason.
Really?
Yeah.
And now in retrospect, you're like, why?
Yeah. I still don't really know.
Yeah. All the swears. Too many swears.
No, my parents were not afraid to swear. Well, my mom wasn't afraid to swear in movies. She's the main verdict on what movies we can watch.
But yeah, I think it holds up. I really like the beginning, where there's the setup to what they're doing, and the way that's cut, and it just, I don't know. I think it strikes a really good balance between them building character and then goofing around and stuff, and you kind of see who or what kind of people they are, and then also kind of creating this lore about the Blair Witch and this town and stuff and legend. I think they did a really good job with that. I thought the acting was good.
Yeah, the acting was definitely really good. Cause they were, it was. I don't know,
They used their real names, which was interesting.
Was that the real names?
Yeah. So it was like a very small production.
I've never seen any of those actors in anything else either.
I don't think they've been in a lot. This was their one time to shine.
That's gonna be a weird thing to direct too, because they're all like holding camcorders in their face, and it's definitely them for most of it. So it's like, where are the people who are directing them and everything?
Yeah, I thought it was cool the way that since she was in the context of the movie making a documentary, and this is a documentary gone wrong, but the fact that since she was, they also had the film camera with them, so there you kind of got the two perspectives, like she's got video and then Josh has the film camera, and they kind of cut back and forth, and I think that kind of creates a cool like visual language there almost, where because the film parts are interspersed, but they're in there less. It's mostly video. It's mostly her just kind of documenting what they're doing and how they're getting to this burial ground. And then towards the end, I believe Mike has the video camera, and that goes out first, so the rest of it is shot in film, and it's very grainy, and it's just a kind of a cool effect towards the end when there's this kind of end point, and then they're in this dark house, and the lighting really works well. But what do you think about the end?
The end?
Yeah, the end that we saw, because I believe there are two endings.
Are there really? I'm really curious about the other ending.
Yeah.
It's interesting. It wasn't M. Night Shyamalan where it was like, oh, let me show
It's
you
a
in
twist.
case you forgot.
Oh. Yeah, no, this is the way it's played. Obviously, is all very sequential. I mean, what do you think of the end?
It fit, I guess.
It fit?
Yeah.
Was it? I hate the ending.
You do?
Yeah.
Why?
Oh my god. Because there's so much build up, and the ambiguity of it all it's like a wet fart.
Oh, I like it.
Oh, I hated the ending. That original ending where they go to the house, that they hear Josh's voice, and then they go in the basement, and then the camera falls, and it cuts out.
I feel like that's so good and perfect horror, actually. That's
Really?
probably one of the most redeeming things about the movie for me.
Really?
Yeah, because it's like how it is. It's like, this is about the people who are the victims. This isn't about the monster.
See, I usually am on board with that concept, in which, it, like, the thing is more scarier until you show it. Like, the concept or what, like, the monster in your head is always scarier than the monster that you can show me. And you mentioned Cloverfield before, too.
Yeah.
And that is definitely the case. Like, that movie actually has a tension and a bit of, like, some horror elements of a monster until you see the fucking monster. The end of that movie is so disappointing, and the monster looks so stupid, but regardless, it's what you, in your head, I think, is always more frightening than whatever you put on screen.
I think,
So
to
in
me,
that
I'm
case,
almost the opposite. That's why I liked that it was so downplayed. I guess that's a big factor in when I like it. I like that. I like it, kind of like it when the monster isn't that scary.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's way more terrifying when it's something that
Is ordinary.
Yeah, it's something that's
Or
ordinary
can
or
exist.
mundane, and you have to realize that that is what's really scary.
Right. Yeah.
You have to sort of like think about that. I like that more.
Yeah. Well, I mean.
But I do like a good movie monster too, like The Thing, but
Yeah.
at the same time.
And the Blair Witch does that. It does the thing that I like, which is it doesn't show you anything. But it's like there's so much tension and build up throughout this whole movie to have it be not nothing, because you can't say it definitively, but like left up to your imagination at that point. For me, like I remember when I first saw it that I was like, oh, man, that's dumb. and even now, like going back, it's like I would have rather had something. I don't know. I don't know what I want out of this movie.
What is the other ending?
I believe it's the same with the
Josh
witch.
in the corner? Oh.
The witch is in the basement.
But you see her in that one?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know. We'll have to research it. I'm sure if somebody knows, they can write in. But yeah, I don't know. The way it's shot and the way the characters interact with each other, and they have very realistic, very organic dialogue and good banter throughout the movie, I thought is really like the strong point of this movie. Mm-hmm. And like regardless of the ending, it's still pretty good and it holds up just in that aspect. Because it really isn't about, it really like categorically doesn't fit into any like horror genre types, because it's like, I mean, it's like kind of like folklore-y, superstitions, ethereal stuff going on, but like there's nothing like really going on in the movie other than these people are arguing with each other because they're lost in the woods. And like if you remove that supernatural horror element, it's still like, in that context, I think it's still a good movie. Like, people get lost in the woods and they get pissed. Like, that's a real thing that, happens. So, I don't know. So Blair Witch. Blair Witch is still good, I guess. And actually, Eduardo Sanchez, one of the directors, I think he did a bit in one of the VHS horror anthologies, which got a lot of inspiration from Blair Witch and like shaky cam horror style.
You made me watch this and I'm feeling like I vaguely remember it.
Well, I think did we watch two? I think we just watched VHS.
I think we watched both of them because you couldn't get rec.
Oh, okay. I forgot which one he did.
Death. Never mind.
Oh, okay. That's another good horror anthology. We didn't watch any VHS. VHS is like.
We watched one of the VHS.
Okay.
The first one where it's just like, is that because that feels Blair Witchy. The first one where he's just like an artifact in the film. Where it's like shaky cam, handheld.
Which one?
The monster is like a weird, blurry artifact concentration on film.
Oh God, now I'm forgetting. I'm sure. Okay, so the first one is they break into a house and they find VHS tapes and they're watching them.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Yes. And I believe did we watch the second one with the cult and the? No. Okay. We'll save that for another day. Anyway, yeah, I believe Eduardo did one of those, which is cool. Kind of going back to his roots. But yeah, I don't know if you like found footage horror. I know it's sometimes overdone. The Visit, but that's still a good one. And moving on, our last movie, keeping with the theme, we watched The Witch, 2016, directed by Robert Eggers. Man, Witch.
Yeah, I I don't know. It's the closest I'm ever gonna get, I feel like, to my Scarlet Letter horror movie. Unless I do it my damn self.
I had a lot of anticipation for The Witch, and I would say higher expectations than most horror. I don't know. There's something about horror that horror is like really divisive for me. It's like you either got me or you don't. Like, and it's not a palpable thing that I can pinpoint. It's just that you're either doing it or you're not, and I'm interested or I'm not. You know, like I saw the trailer for It Follows. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna like that movie, and I like that movie. Actually, I didn't see the trailer because I don't watch trailers. But I saw the trailer for The Witch, and I was like, yeah, that looks really good.
See the trailer?
No, I didn't watch it. But I imagined it. But I was like, yeah, that's a movie that looks good. I'm gonna see that. I want to see that. I actually wanted to see it in theaters.
Me too.
But it was a limited release kind of deal.
Mm-hmm.
Or a smaller release. And then that just came out. So we just watched it on iTunes. And yeah, I really didn't know what to think when the movie ended. To preface this, it's the Salem witch trials, to be really simplistic about the plot. And
there's no trials in this.
And, well, there's no
there's
trials.
trials right at the beginning.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you want to explain the plot? Because it's kind of...
I can take it.
You could do it. Because yeah.
I was really excited to see this too when I saw the first trailer. I wasn't really sure if it was going to be a horror or historical fiction. And I think that was spot on, because I think that's kind of the genre. It's like
it walks the
question
line.
mark, historical fiction or horror movie, question mark. But yeah, so the plot line is definitely strongly inspired by the Salem witch trials, like the actual, because those are written documents. You can actually look them up online and read them, and you can tell Robert Eggers, who also wrote the script for this, must have fucking memorized those.
He studied it for a very long time.
The language is like perfect. It's one of the best done. If you categorize it as a historical fiction, it's one of the best historical fictions I've seen of early America. But it's got this like horror supernatural twist to it.
Right.
It isn't really a twist. I shouldn't say that. I hate that word.
So what are the Salem witch trials? I don't know what those are.
You don't know what those are?
I am unaware.
Oh,
I am
goodness.
just a plebe, just a layman.
In the
Please
early
explain.
1600s of Massachusetts,
there
was a colony in... It wasn't... Oh, it was in Salem.
Go on.
Be.
Go on.
And there were these 3 girls, one of which was adopted, named Abigail, and her 2 younger adopted I think they were her cousins. So they weren't adopted. They were the blood daughters of the preacher, minister person that they lived with, who was their father. They were Puritan. And all of a sudden, they started tripping balls, basically. They're like writhing on the floor, clenching their stomach, saying they couldn't pray. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. Seen in this movie. And they started accusing people in the town of being possessed by the devil or having signed his book, which was a fancy way of Puritan terms of saying that they were a witch or a warlock, because they accuse men and women alike.
Yeah, no bias when you're accusing people of witchcraft.
Right. And of course, naturally, most of the blame got placed on their... what do you call it? There was a word for it. But it's a slave who was their nanny, basically, Tituba, who came from Haiti, because she was practicing voodoo lady. So, and anyways, long story. That's whole different related, but a lot of the incidences in those...
I was just trying
Sorry, class.
I was just trying to get you to explain the plot, but
you went to the Salem witch trials. I told you. That's why I made a face when you said it's the Salem witch trials. The Salem witch trials were a whole big thing. It's a long story. 231 people died or something.
So what is this movie about?
This movie is about some Puritans who get kicked out of their settlement
Mm-hmm.
because they aren't following their code right, or
Mhm.
they want to. Maybe they're too strict. It almost seemed like they might have been too strict, which is funny because the Puritans were so strict they got kicked out of England, and then these Puritans are so strict they get kicked out of the Puritan community. Because that's what
Mhm.
it seemed like. I don't know if I was following it properly.
I think it was meant to be a little ambiguous.
Yeah, whatever it is, they're
Mm.
leaving the plantation,
Mhm.
as they call it, and they find like an open field with a nice tree, and they're like, "We're gonna live here."
Yeah. This is
And-
our land. Let's put a flag in it. Boom.
So they build their little cabin, and neurosis sets in.
Basically.
Basically, and it kind of reaches its peak. Well, I shouldn't say it reaches its peak there, but it sort of starts when their baby disappears
Mm-hmm.
in a very
The newborn.
the newborn baby
Mhm.
disappears, and then it all starts falling apart.
Mm-hmm.
But you're never left really guessing if it is just complete neuroses, because right at the beginning you see the witch bathing in baby blood.
This is true.
So there is actually like a supernatural element, but there is also like a psychological horror element too, because a lot of what is bothering these people are not supernatural. Like they don't
It's all
trust
inner,
each other.
and
Yeah.
all this inner turmoil and conflict is kind of manifesting as a witch or these strange goings on the farm.
Right, and how isolated they are. And,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. And in a completely new world, because they're also like a first generation in America. The parents remember England. The daughter remembers England, and they're very homesick as
Mhm.
well. And they've
Right.
just been kicked out of their community, and they're on their own.
Mm-hmm. So they've kind of been extracted from their quote unquote homes twice now. So as with anyone, would be a little on edge and a little anxious, and there's so many concepts in this movie going on, which is something I really appreciate.
Yeah.
Like the just the unknown and isolation and the woods.
Yeah.
And like kind of extremism in the forms of like religion and
Mhm.
tradition and stuff like that, and how this all manifests in the movie is really, really haunting and like it's really horror. This is a real horror movie as
Yeah.
opposed to like Halloween guy comes in Halloween.
This is
and,
folklore horror.
Yeah.
And
I really like.
it's like
this
horror at
movie.
its core.
Yeah, yeah. Whereas something like Halloween or Friday the 13th, a slasher movie is terror, as opposed to horror. It's someone terrorizing people.
Yeah.
And this is very primal. This is like anybody can be like anyone's afraid of, or anyone can be afraid of isolation in the woods and.
Especially with something supernatural happening to you.
Yeah. So, first of all, like, holy shit, this movie looks amazing.
It's very pretty.
I think one of the first things I commented on, too, was the aspect ratio
Yeah.
is weird. We rented it on iTunes, and I full screened it, and there were these almost 4:3 aspect ratio bars on the side, and I was like, what is going on? But I did a little research, and it's shot in 166, and that was very intentional because it is the woods, and there are these tall trees, and it was the director's choice to do that because there are these tall trees. He wants these very vertical shots as opposed to a wide shot, which I totally get it. That it looks good. It's very effective. But other than that, just like the environment, their clothes, wardrobe, their house, like everything is so authentic.
Yeah. Everything looked really lived and in real.
Yeah. It's just a very, it like I said, it like walks that line between, or you said, like it walks that line between like a historical drama and a horror movie in like the classic sense.
It's like if Terrence Malick made The New World a horror movie.
If Terrence Malick made any movie. Yeah, I thought it looked really good. I think the one thing that I did mention immediately after we watched it, the one quote unquote problem or gripe I have with it is there's some musical cues
Yeah.
that come in various very obvious points in the movie where the scene already has a very terrifying and dark tone, and then like the music's good. It's like dissonant strings and loud screeches and stuff, but like it's the cues. It's when they come in, and maybe it's like an editing thing, but like it almost feels like it's trying to telegraph too much, or like trying to set a tone that it doesn't have to. Like it's doing like visually. This movie is all about, I think, visual style,
Mm-hmm.
and like those musical cues add to it, but it's a timing thing. I don't know. It was a really distracting aspect.
The very first swell, like, was like, whoa, whoa, for
Yeah.
me. But then after that, I kind of abated a little bit, but yeah.
Yeah, and then actually too, initially, I wanted to kind of gripe about their very thick accents because you can't understand William, the father. You can't understand a goddamn word he's saying unless you really listen. And like it's a combination of like the accent and his voice being so deep,
Yeah,
and
it's
it's
completely
mixed
low
in
voice.
a way that you're just. But going back to like the visuals, like the acting and the visuals are so good that like I don't like half the time I didn't know what he was saying, but it didn't really matter.
Oh, that's why I asked you if you wanted to turn on the subs, because it was wondering.
Yeah, I
He says
know.
some really good stuff.
No, I mean, yeah, I'm like being hyperbolic, but
Okay.
like I did understand a lot, but when you couldn't understand some of the things that were going on, it was okay for me because it was like visually this movie's so good that I can see what's happening in the scene, and
Okay.
like the just like the tone and the reverence for the scene is like coming through, whereas like the dialogue, maybe if I don't understand it, I'm getting the point. You know what I mean? So I don't know.
You mentioned the cuts when we first started watching it too. How it's cut very quick.
At the beginning.
Throughout.
Oh,
Like they
right.
would show you something that was really beautiful and then they cut away like just as
Yeah.
you processed it, and I felt like they were doing that for tension. And part of me wonders if it's also a reflection on Puritanism.
Really?
Yeah, part of me does wonder that because a lot of them seemed almost biblical.
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot
Well,
of
the one in
imagery.
particular, are you thinking of the dinner scene?
There's like the dinner scene. There's a scene where the mother and father are talking by candlelight too in their bed. And there was another one that was a really of course them coming over the ridge and the moon's right there and then it cuts really fast.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
That was one thing I thought this movie could have been longer.
I don't know. I feel like if it was longer, it might have dragged because there was no real climax to the movie. There's like, was there? I don't feel like there was. I feel like it was pretty much steady. After the middle, it's like a steady series of events happening. There's not really a climax. So
Yeah.
if it kept going on beyond a certain point, I feel like it would start to feel like it's dragging. So I felt like it was kind of perfectly balanced in that respect. But I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, what I was referring to, yeah, there's some shots that are really gorgeous. Talking about the dinner scene, there's a dinner scene where they're praying, and there's like a Kubrick-esque shot, and there's like really good symmetry and really good lighting. It's almost got this like painterly quality, like an old painting, and like it's beautiful, and it's there for like a second, and then they cut around to more shots of these kind of over-the-shoulder shots or whatever, or head-on shots of the family, and they're talking around the dinner table. But yeah, I don't know, like like we won't. I'm not gonna spoil anything because this movie's so recent.
Oh, no spoilers?
No,
I can't.
I would. I don't know. I'd feel bad.
Yeah.
But if you want to see this movie, or if you have any inclination or saw the trailer or whatever, like definitely go. I would recommend go see it. But yeah, the again, like the Blair Witch Project, like this is a lot about the tension between the family members and kind of being in this isolation uh, and that's kind of where a lot of the drama stems from. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like maybe some of those scenes could have been a little more drawn out. Maybe like like when her baby brother gets taken in the very beginning, like the mother's pain is kind of not as apparent, or like they don't really focus on it enough. Like she's kind of like
She hasn't slept in 3 days.
she doesn't right. It's all like told to you. Like
And then there's
if that
her
would have
praying
been
and whispering.
right, but it's like so brief that like if they would have kind of more like dwelled on that a little bit more, that would have been better to kind of characterize her, because she kind of in the end she has a big arc. I'm just saying, I enjoy movies when they're longer and they take their time, especially horror movies, because it's all about creating tension, and then that release at the end is like what you kind of live for, or watch it for. But it still did a pretty good job with kind of building all that up. And then Anya Taylor?
Something with a hyphenated name.
Oh Jesus. The girl who plays Thomason, who is accused of being a witch by the family eventually. She is excellent. She is really good. Like they're all really good, but I think she stands out.
I feel like they all had very, like, even the way that their faces are. I remember the casting director was spot on, and actually I gotta give props to the director too for that, because like the way that they're filmed also like accentuates how well they fit into their environment.
Yeah, the look. I mean, again, like the look is perfect. Like aesthetically, everything about it. It's just like dirty and gritty and.
Yeah, but like also like I don't know any of the actors' names in this. I didn't really look. The dad is always looking down, like he's got a very long face. He's got a nose shaped like an arrow, and then these two very close set eyes. He just looks like the pinnacle of judgment all the time.
Yeah.
The mom is so skinny and emaciated and prim looking. You can tell how much she is like worried and stressed.
Yeah.
Just by how emaciated she looks, and how she's afraid she's becoming Job's wife and everything. And then the girl has the like really big, bulbous eyes, and when she's constantly looking up at the camera, she's always being filmed at a downward angle, contrasts with the dad, which is always from this looking downward, and the camera's looking up at him. So it's like kind of this interesting dynamic.
Yeah.
Both the director and the casting director.
Yeah. Going back to judgment, yeah.
Yeah.
The judgmental dad is always looking down on his family.
Two little shits. No.
Yeah. The two little shits.
They're the same.
A movie with kids that I like. What do you know? But yeah, I don't know. There's not a lot to complain about with this movie. I want to talk about the ending, but I really don't.
I know, and the animals.
I really don't want to spoil it, but
It's definitely better than The Crucible. I hope it replaces The Crucible in school now.
Yeah, the ending is. I was satisfied. I will say that. I was very satisfied with the ending. I can appreciate brevity. I'll say that.
Yeah.
Much, so.
That was one of the images too. Actually, it's really quickly cut from. Yeah.
There's a lot of references, and if you appreciate that historical stuff, you will probably appreciate this movie.
It definitely has a lot of good.
It's like gory when it needs to be, and the gore is very visceral and very like I've seen all the movie gore. Like nothing shocks me, but there are some parts in this that are a little disturbing.
A little bit.
So yeah.
Can't say anything.
Yeah, but it's good. Like it's it's very effective too, because it's very sparse. So I'll give it that. So yeah, I didn't hate The Witch.
Me neither.
But I didn't like it. Yeah, I guess I wasn't expecting to, but I guess that's kind of the kind of horror I like, maybe on occasion.
It's the historical fiction I like.
Yeah. Yeah. You will not find a more accurate portrayal of a sad family in the 1600s living on a farm, roughing it. So, yeah, that's gonna do it. I didn't check emails. So no emails this week, but if you want to email us, we're ithinkahatemovies@gmail.com. I still haven't seen Winter Soldier. That's my Winter Soldier update. So this week, for next week, we're going to choose our movies, and they're going to have a theme, harkening back to last week. So many weeks.
Was it last week or the week before?
No, it was last week. We talked about video game movies, because we talked about Assassin's Creed.
Oh, right.
And we were talking about how there aren't really, well, I was at least talking about how there aren't really any good video game movies. So we're going to watch some video game movies. And the way we're going to do this is we have a bowl full of movie titles, and we're each going to draw one, and that's that. The bowl is final. The bowl is the word.
There's one bomb in here, though.
There's a couple bombs in here.
Yeah, but the Resident Evil one comes with consequences.
Okay. Yeah, so oh god, yeah, if we draw the Resident Evil one, I suggested that we watch the Resident Evils, because there are like 18 of them. We watch them until we can't watch them anymore.
I said we should watch all of them.
Yeah, and that's not gonna happen. Okay, so we're each gonna pick one from the bowl now. I will go first, and we have to watch it.
Nope. Looks like you got a couple movies there. Don't do that to yourself. Okay, you got one.
You folded these. Alright, the first one is...
Oh, yay!
The first one is Doom.
Here, now you're gonna do it.
Oh. That'll be fun.
It will be.
Alright, and your
Have
turn.
the popcorn ready.
And get the pentagrams ready.
Ace Attorney!
Oh, really? Oh, cool.
Neither of us have seen that.
Alright.
Cool.
So, we're gonna watch Doom and Ace Attorney. That's a Japanese movie that came out in 2012, I believe. I have not seen it, but I like the games, so hey. I don't know. Sometimes Japan can do a good video game movie.
Mm-hmm.
So, sometimes they don't, but...
Sometimes it's just fan service.
Yeah. But hey, you know what? That's okay. Doom has a first-person shooter scene in it.
It does.
So, talk about fan service. Oops, spoilers. But that's next week. So next week we're watching Ace Attorney and Doom. So stay tuned for that. And that is going to do it. Thank you guys for listening. And that is a wrap.